Hey everybody, it's me, Angel Benton. It's time for another edition of Angel Sudsy Recap, where we delve into the world of daytime television and we do a few reality shows on the side. And right now I'm going to take a little detour break from reality TV. I'm not sorry, not from reality TV, from soap operas, and I'm going to do reality show The Real Housewives of New York. But before I get into that, today's the CAPM test that I'm taking, Certified Associate in Project Management. It's a very difficult test, and they know it's difficult. And you know what's kind of weird about it is that they don't tell you what percentage of answers you need to get correct in order to pass. So I hope I do well. I'm studying. I'm cramming now in between doing these videos. I'm trying to focus on my CAPM test, but at the same time, you know, when you buy the test to take, like when you buy that version, like when you buy an admission to take the test, you get 3. So you can, they actually know that it's hard, so you can actually fail the first 2 times, and as long as you pass by the 3rd one. Now, if I fail the 3rd time, then I got to pay again, but at least this, you know, now work is paying for this time, but if they fail, I'm not going to make them pay for it again. If I fail all 3 times, I'm going to pay for it myself, because that's a little ridiculous. I really hope I don't. I would love to pass this first time. It's really stressing me out. But anyways, okay, so enough of that. All right, so the Housewives of New York. You know what's funny is that when I left Los Angeles, you know, because, you know, NBC had a huge daytime lineup, right? Santa Barbara, Sunset Beach, Passions, Days of Our Lives, Another World, and now they're all gone except for Days of Our Lives. Well, when I left Los Angeles, they had started airing Real Housewives reruns either right before or right after. I think it's right after Days of Our Lives. They would have an hour of Days of Our Lives, and then they have an hour of The Real Housewives. And they would start with Orange County and do as many episodes as they have in Orange County, then they do New York, and you know, they would do that, and I thought that was actually a really great idea. I thought it was wonderful, you know, because a lot of these shows are very similar to daytime television. You know, even though those shows are scripted and these are not, those shows seem a little bit outlandish. But then you watch the reality shows and you go, oh, maybe that's not that outlandish after all, right? So I don't know if they still do that in LA or not, because I left Los Angeles in 2008, so I don't know if they're still doing that. But anyways, no, 2009. In 2009. Okay, so moving on. The Housewives of New York. I know I keep saying I'm going to start, but I'm going to start. Okay, so for the Housewives of New York, so this week they had part 2 of their reunion. Now next week is the last part, which is part 3. And I don't know if there's going to be a secrets revealed or a behind the scenes episode. Sometimes they do that, sometimes they don't. I'm usually made up of a bunch of clips and crap that would kind of take away from the storyline. I mean, I get it from an editing perspective. I understand why. You know, they've got some good stuff, but it just would be too much to air during the actual series, so they make a whole special episode about it where Andy looks back on funny things that happened during that weren't caught on camera. And that also includes footage from the reunion that didn't make it. I'll tell you what did not have a secrets revealed or behind the scenes episode, and that was Atlanta, because their reunion was 4 parts. Now granted, they were all good parts. Like that was an epic reunion. But at the same time, I don't think that there was much left on the cutting floor. You know, like on the cutting room floor. I don't think that actually, you know, I think they had to use a lot of what was. So I don't think they maybe had enough. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways. Housewives of New York, part 2 of the reunion. So the last part of the reunion, we learned, you know, about Luann and Tom was basically that was kind of it, and they were kind of holding Ramona to the fire for stuff that she had done, like, you know, trashing Dorinda's room and, you know, not paying for it and all, you know, all this other stuff. And this week we found out a lot about Tinsley. I love Tinsley. You know, I love me some Tinsley Mortimer. I have loved her for decades. Like, I loved her back when she was the socialite it girl of New York. I thought she was fantastic. So, you know, it was, do I have I had black hair. That's weird. Okay. So anyways, so we got to find out a lot about Tinsley. We found out that she's moving in with Scott, the guy that Carol set her up with, and that she wants to marry him. Okay, wow, you go, girl. Damn, you work fast. All right. Who knows? Maybe that this might be the one, you know? And she says he's a keeper. He is a for sure keeper. That's great. That's wonderful. And I do like the little coupon cabin commercials that they've had with her and Carol. I saw one this morning that was interesting. It was about uh, you can do your coupons at home alone on the internet, and then Tinsley was like porn. She's like porn. That was really like a little. I'm for a commercial. That was a little bit risque. At least I thought so. So I thought it was cool. Yeah. Okay. So, anyways, so we found out a lot about Tinsley. They didn't really get into the the fight between Tinsley and Sonia. And in fact, Tinsley actually stuck up for Sonia because they were talking about Frenchie, and the ladies had said that they had heard that Frenchie was an actor. And Tinsley actually stuck up for Sonia. He's like, well, if he was acting, I could hear them at night. I don't think they were acting. So I thought that was actually kind of cool that Tinsley, even though that they're fighting right now, she still stood up for um, Sonia. Okay, so the other part of the reunion was all about Bethenny Frankel, and this is what I find that's interesting. Now, first of all, it's a reality show, so anybody, I mean, like you can choose to do whatever you want. If you choose to say, today I'm going to tell you all about this, tomorrow I'm not going to tell you anything, right? You can do that. It's your prerogative. You can totally do that. But see, the problem though is that once you open that Pandora's box of letting people into your life, then they feel like they have a right to know, or they still ask. So a lot of questions were about her ex-husband, Jason Hoppy, and because he had been in the news quite a bit, because he had been arrested on 3 counts of stalking, and then they added 2 more counts. So and Carol was like, he's obsessed. He is obsessed, and that's you know and it's so crazy because if you think about the previous reality shows that Bethenny was on once she left the New York Housewives, so Bethenny Getting Married, Bethenny Ever After, Jason was a big part of those shows. But like Bethenny says, you don't see everything that happens in their life. You just see an hour or a half hour. I don't remember how long her show was, but however long that was per week, right? You don't see everything that happens, and I get that. I totally understand that. But she was getting really heated when people were commenting and talking about, Jason, And I think that's a little bit unfair because it's a big news story in Page 6. Everyone's talking about it on Page 6, but they can't mention it on the show. I thought that was a little bit unfair. Now, don't get me wrong. I definitely think Ramona can put her foot in her mouth a lot, but at this time she was actually giving words of support from someone who she had been married to Mario for years and given birth to his child, and all she said was, it's really unfortunate when you've got a child because you're constantly bonded to that person for life, and that's unfortunate. That was it. And she was like, Ramona, I really don't want to hear from you about this. Well, I'm a viewer, and I would like to hear what Ramona would have to say. Believe it or not, I never thought I would ever say those words. But, I think that's a little bit unfair to try to shut Ramona up that way. And, listen, I get if you don't ever want to talk about it, you can say, I don't want to talk about this. But, I mean, the other ladies can chime in on their 2 cents, And then, if you disagree with anything, then you should say, actually, that's not what happened, but I'm just going to let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like for her to tell people to, pipe down was a little bit disingenuous, I think. I still love Bethenny. I still think she's very funny. But, I didn't agree with the way she handled that particular situation. So next week we're going to see part 3 of the reunion. This is the last part. I don't know if there'll be a Secrets Revealed episode or not, but so then we'll do we'll do another Sudsy recap for that one. And then once that's over, either next week or the week after, or whenever it starts, we're going to do Below Deck. We're going to do Below Deck, Jackson, Brittany Take Kentucky, and The Real Housewives of Auckland are going to be the 3 reality shows, and then we'll see what happens when those end. But yeah, so anyways, thank you so much for logging on today. I do appreciate it. Please feel free to follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Angel Benton. You can hashtag RHONY or Real Housewife Shit to talk the Real Housewives of New York. Or you can also hashtag Jackson Brittany to talk about Jackson Brittany Take Kentucky. I'm excited about that show. It's really cool. So, and you can also hit that subscribe button on my YouTube channel to get my YouTube videos sent to your inbox every single day. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for logging on today. Have a great day. Wish me luck on my test. Peace out. Wubba, wubba, wubba.